And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're going to take a look quickly at Exit the Game Kidnapped in Fortune City. Now, there's a lot of exit games out there. I do not believe I played them all, and sometimes I combine a couple of them together. These are escape room games in a box, but I want to talk about this one because it has a little bit different of a feel than the rest that are out there. To that end, there will be the minorest of spoilers in this. Not that it's going to spoil anything about how to solve it or anything like that. It's just that I can't really talk about this without telling you how it works, but again, it's not really a spoiler. It's just, I want to explain a little bit about what this game does. So this is an Old West game. The sheriff has been kidnapped, but for some reason he's left clues all over town for you to find and solve the crime and find who he is. So it's like many other escape room games where this is going to come full of cards and papers and things like that. They're going to give you clues till you do different puzzles in them. And that works well. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But what this one does that most of the other exit games don't do is it's non-linear in many regards. There's two main differences. One, it's non-linear. Inside this box, there's going to be a bunch of buildings. You'll see that says stop, don't open this till you're told to. But when you're told to, you're going to be able to open the buildings in any order. You'll open them, look at the stuff inside, might give you clues and cards. You know, you have the inside and outside of the building to look at that might give you clues, and you solve that gives you more stuff. So you go around. So that's a nice thing, but you're only allowed to go from building to building, necessarily following roads. There's a map of the town, and so that's kind of cool. You know, most exit games, they say solve this puzzle, you're done with that one, solve this one. Here you can go around and solve them in various orders. But the whole game itself is about finding a whodunit. Who not shot the sheriff, but who kidnapped the sheriff. And there's a list of suspects in your opening documents, and it crosses off one of them and says that person has an alibi, and you need to figure out who done it. So this is essentially, Kidnapped in Fortune City is essentially two different games. It's an exit game, and where you're trying to escape out of a thing, and it's also a whodunit mystery. Now, I will say I don't think that's going to appeal to everybody. Not everybody wants to do both of those, although I think that the Venn diagram of overlap between the two is pretty high. I fortunately like both of them. You know, going through and saying, oh, I found this clue, this and that, and then at the end say, okay, now we put together all this information. And so Billy Bob was here at this time, and they went and did this and that. You know what? There's no way they could have done it. Cross them off. The boots were 16 sizes too big. It can't be this person. And I'm just making up clues now, but that's it. And you need to do that at the end. The game feels like it has two halves. Now, that second half might be shorter or not, and you can be working on that as you go through, because as you solve the different parts of the escape room, you get more and more clues, and so you can, start doing the whodunit throughout. I kind of ignored that, just went and did all the escape room stuff, and then did the whodunit at the end. Now, this one is ranked 3.5 stars out of 5. I would have given it 4 for sure. This one felt more difficult to me. There were some really simple puzzles in here. There was one unique puzzle that does something physically, and I always like when puzzles do things in a physical manner. I can't say more than that without spoiling it, but it's one that I haven't seen before. Other than that, some of the stuff is I figured out because I've seen maybe not this exact puzzle, but things that were adjacent to it in other games. And then there was one where I was like, well, how on earth was I ever going to figure that out? That just happens to me, but they have the clue cards and stuff to get through those. The whodunit itself, it's really funny because on the clue cards they give you the information, and it's written in really small because it's a ton of information. It's like reading one of those mysteries and logic problems and trying to figure out who did what. So I still think Exit the Game has reached its borders in the limits of things it can do, but if they add that whodunit stuff into the boxes, that gives it a little bit more life and some more breathing room. So it's I like this one. It's probably in my top 3 or 4 of the Exit game series. Certainly one worth checking out. So that's Exit Kidnapped in Fortune City. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment approved!